Hey everybody, welcome to the Professional Services Summit session brought to you. So this is a little bit different format. I'm sure you've all recognized. Normally we don't have summit sessions in my bedroom. So everybody, hope everybody's doing well and everybody's safe and healthy and confining themselves. I am, so I'm calling you from San Francisco. I'd love to see you guys all in Chicago or Paris, but unfortunately, events transpired that made that impossible. So today I'm going to give a quick webinar, not so quick, but I'm going to give my summit session pretty much a little bit adapted for the webinar and show some new things that we wouldn't have even seen in the summit. So, and I'm going to give you a broad overview of the professional services, what we're offering, and where we've been in the past 2 years. So bear with me. So just quick, a bit about myself. My name is Will Taylor. A lot of us have already met. If we haven't, I'm sure we'll meet soon. I'm the technical account manager at 40 US. And I head up the professional services team for the English speaking North American market. Okay. And I've been working with 40 for about 3.5 years. Been a couple road shows, world tours, and so looking forward to the second summit this year, but nope. So, and I really enjoy working with the professional services team. It always provides me a great opportunity to see what you guys are doing. And it allows me to work with different people all the time, which is always fun. And no two projects are the same, as you're going to see. So it keeps me on my toes. So first, let me just take a moment to discuss our motto for the professional services team. This is something that's going to be discussed in the keynote presentation that will be shared later on. And our motto is our goal, comma, support your business. And we really take this to heart. That's our goal. That's all we're here to do, is to support you, the developer, and your business. However we can, we're here to help you do better, right? And this question often comes up. Why does 40 have a professional services team? They're taking my projects. I just want to say that we're not here to take the projects. We haven't taken any projects. We have created projects, more 40 projects that are now being handled by the developer community. And as you're going to see in the session today, we are mainly here to support your business and to extend your team's reach, metaphorically, of course. So just want to say, reiterate, we haven't taken a single developer in the past 2 years, a single project from a developer. We generally work with the developer. I prefer to work with the developer than the end client myself. Reason for that, the developer knows the application, knows the business logic, and knows what they need. And what the client needs. We know 4D and other technologies, as you'll see. And the only time that we really work by ourselves with the end client is when the developer just has become a no-show, and oh, sorry about that. And and the client moves away from 4D. So next I would like, so that's just a quick overview of what we're going to do. And also I'm not going to talk daily rate here. So just let me just get that out, get that question out of the way. It's always the question, how much does it cost? It depends on a project by project basis. And if you have a project, just speak with your account representative and we'll discuss it. Yeah, that's not the goal of this either, to scope out projects. So now I'm going to talk a little bit about the services that we do offer, and I break these down into 3 different types of services. One of those, so the first one is auditing and consulting. Okay. Sorry, I have my notes on a different computer. So I'm just trying to organize everything. So first thing I'd like to talk about is deep code analysis. Actually, I'll talk about it later, so I'm not going to talk about it now. But definitely we'll touch on that in depth later. RFQ support. So RFQ support is, an RFQ is a request for quote or a tender. or an appel d'offre in French. And if you want to, if you're going for a big project and you need help with, if you need help filling out an RFQ or support on architecture on how to do an RFQ, we're here to support you in that. And we're also here to help you once you do get that big deal. So you can be the face of the deal, and we are the technical background if that's what you need. We're here, however you need support on that. Load testing and security auditing support. So this is something I'd like to touch on just now. Quickly, that is a service that we offer for 4D client server web applications. And it's a service that we offer that allows us to test an application as it would be used in a real life environment. So for an example, a really large French insurance company needed to go from 100 users, a 100 user application to a 400 user application. We took, well, that's really, it was a client server application. It's an older application. They weren't sure if it was going to work out. So they called us up and they said, hey, how can we make sure our application, when we deliver it to 400 people, is actually going to work as it says it will work. So what we did is we made some testing environments, set up some Amazon servers, and really hammered the application, found out where the weaknesses were in the application before, fixed them, so that way the deployment went much smoother. So that's something that we do. And CAS is quality assurance as a service, and we'll talk a little bit. We're not going to talk much about that here, but we'll do another webinar about that later. That's how we're able to test using some advanced methods, 4D client server applications or web applications, so continuous integration stuff. So we'll touch on that in a later webinar, but more to come. And next, I'd like to talk about 4D programming. Okay, we're 4D. We do a lot of 4D programming, right, as you can imagine. So the 4D programming, I like to break it up with I'd like to break it up with conversion and migration. Those are two a little bit different things. Conversion is just getting the application. I'm going to talk a little bit about this later, but that's just converting the application from whatever version it's in to the newest version. 4D programming, third-party maintenance, that's where the developer works with the client on new features, but doesn't have time or the will to maintain and keep the 4D database clean and with all the new versions and just maintain its the versions. So that's something that we also offer. If you want to do more projects, more development projects and less maintenance projects, we can help you with that. The development, that's probably, you can imagine, if you need something developed, if you need something and you need it done quickly, we can help you with that. And UX, UI design, so that's user experience, UI, user interface design help, and I'll talk more about that later. And that's where we give your application a makeover, and I'll show you an example of that. It's pretty cool. And then I'll break it up. And then the last is other technologies. So other technologies, I'm talking about mobile apps. We can bring your application to a mobile environment or make a mobile application for you from the get-go. Again, that same large French insurance company needed to equip their salespeople with a mobile version of an application for when they did their sales. And we helped them extend the application to get their application to 900 simultaneously connected web sessions. So that's pretty cool too. Interfaces. So if you were here for my last webinar, interfaces are, I talked about how you can use 4D to have an interface to Tableau, for example. Interfaces for me are 4D is generally a part of a business, and you have other applications that run around it. And if you want 4D to orchestrate or share information, say with your QuickBooks application or Sage or whatever you're doing, if you need 4D to interface with your other uh, business applications, we can help you do that. And 4D for iOS. 4D for iOS, as you see in version 18, it's awesome. I did a 4D method meeting last year about it. You'll see a lot about it from the summit stuff, but what 4D for iOS does is it allows you, through pointing and clicking, it allows you the ability to create an iOS native application, a native iOS application in Swift that you can then take and then design for yourself and continue to develop for yourself. You can use that on both iPhone, iPad, for the iOS development. It requires certain tweaks, but we can get it there. We can get it perfect. And there have been clients and examples, and we fleshed out an application for our client in Jordan for that. So we're working around the world. So since we spoke 2 years ago, if this is the first time, welcome. We have a new website that was right about to be launched last time. So it's a bummer I wasn't able to show it then, but I'm going to show it now. And this is a website that allows us, that pretty much describes all the services that I'm going to be speaking about today. And if you're interested, you can go to the website, or if your clients are interested to know why you're hiring 4D, what do they do? You can show them this web page, and then it's a professional thing. It's a professional way to explain what we're doing at 4D. So that's the web page. So if you want to know more about it, by all means, I recommend you go to 4D.com. So now, this is a really cool slide. So this is a little bit about the growth year over year of the professional services team. So the first statistic, it doesn't mean a lot, but I just want to say we're really investing a lot in 4D, and we are 4D professional services. And the blue bar is the percent of revenue. So first year in 2017, it was 6%. Now we're up to 7% of the annual revenue. So that's cool. We are doing more. And then also we have the number of projects that's growing. So we've gone from 54 projects to 83 projects. And in order to make sure that we deliver those projects on time and with the quality that we require, that you require, and we require, we have brought in a lot of new people into the professional services team. So we've gone from 22 to 36 people. The 22 to 36 people. So we're hiring generally younger engineers, freshly out of school or with a few years of experience. We are working with universities to hire in interns in order to teach 4D in universities and schools, and also for them to work in 4D during their internships that they need to do. And then we hire from those groups. So that's our recruiting process, and that's been a really beneficial way and a really good way to have top quality talent coming from university. And I'm not sure if a lot of people in the US are aware of this, but as we're a French company, we're allowed to work with the VIE program, and that allows the international subsidiaries, like the subsidiary in Silicon Valley, to hire a young European talent to come and work in the international subsidiaries and train. So that's another great way. And it's really been a fun way to have new people showing up in the team and with some different ideas. And I'll talk a little bit about how that's really helping the team in a minute. So that's just how it's going. So as you can see, we're really investing, and also these are the people. This is the team mainly in. This is the dedicated professional services team. This isn't including me. This isn't including anybody else. So this is really the developers. So this has been really fun to have new people in the team. Oh, shoot. bear with me. I lost my, sorry. So my Keynote quit out on me. I think it just restarted. I don't have another screen at home, so I have to use my wife's computer. Pretty silly. So I'm back. So also in 2019, the number of projects per service. So as we talked about the services above, these are the number of projects that we have delivered. So those 84 projects. So 23% of them were development, 20% were DCAs, 25% conversions. So as you can see, we're doing all sorts of different work for our customers to help them out. So that's just a cool graphic to show you that we're doing a bunch of different stuff. Now I'd like to talk about the skills. So as I said, since we are hiring young developers that don't necessarily know 4D, they're coming with us with a wide experience with the other technologies, which really helps us in the modern technological market. So these are just a little bit of the skills that we pull from people. So of course we're 4D, we know 4D. And then these are some other, this is another smattering of, this is just a lot of different, let's say, logos of technology that people know in the team. So we have experts in Node, React, DigitalOcean, OneSignal for SMS sending, C++ development if you need some specific plugins developed or anything, of course, and we Nginx for load balancing. So really anything, any technology that someone is asking about that's modern, the professional services team has someone that can help or start to understand to work with you on that project. So if your client says, hey, I'd like to send SMSs, how do I do that? You can call us up and we can just talk about a project. And that's one way that we can get something. You can even just get an idea. You can bounce ideas off of us. We're here to help you. We're here to help you build your application. So, and if you do decide to work with us after, that's fine. And if not, that's great too, as long as you are doing the best at delivering the best application that you can do. So we've been working the professional services team. So I've been here for what, 3.5 years. I started working the professional services team. There were no processes in place, and as we grow with more and more projects and people, we need to have better and better processes. So I'm just going to lay out the process that we generally follow for professional services. So we start with, this is a long slide. So we start with an NDA. Okay, and this is an NDA, so this is a mutual NDA, so it's a non-disclosure agreement between you, your client, us, however we need to do it in order for us to have the information that we need in order to start the project. And this protects your IP. This protects you IP for us not like giving it out or doing anything strange with it. And this also protects what we talk about with you, that keeps under wraps. So, and this is the same process that we have from multi-billion, like multinational banks with strategic applications to ministries, to governments, to anybody, to any developer. We all respect the mutual NDA the same way. So that's one thing, I just want to get that out there. And then, as needed, we work through a GDPR or data privacy process definition, depending on the location, depending on what sorts of data will be shared. We generally try not to take receipt of any data, of any data files, but sometimes it's necessary. And when it is necessary, we have a legal team in 4D that is well-versed in what we need to do in order to protect your clients or your private data, your HIPAA compliant data, your whatever compliant data, in order to make sure that there are no leaks, that we follow all the processes needed to safeguard your data. And then we do a review of the project once that's set in stone. So we would take receipt of your application. We do whatever we need to do to do a review. We work with you. We understand your use case. This is the fun part for me. That's the part I really enjoy, when I really get to understand what you're trying to do or what your client wants to do. And it's generally a fun time with a lot of hope. So I like that portion. And then we work out a proposal. General terms and conditions are signed. If the proposal is accepted, we do a project kickoff. And I like to really put a lot of effort on the project kickoff. It is a point where the project manager it's where the, excuse me, the project manager handles a project kickoff. The project manager that's going to be dedicated to your project will handle the kickoff. And then they will define any potential planning, any potential risks, tentative schedule, required things that are still required, anything really that's related to the project. Going after this meeting, you will have a slide deck that shows pretty much what the project is based on this time right now. When you're going to be meeting weekly, it's generally formal-ish, but it really helps you, the customer, the professional services customer, understand what is going to be happening, who the people are, and who the players are. So that's the goal of that. Then, we work. So we do the development, right? And then we do a delivery. And right after the delivery, we request that you sign something called a certificate of delivery. And this certificate of delivery is pretty much the signing over of the IP. So you have a free to use license to use whatever we're doing, or whatever the IP stipulation is. It's yours to do what you'd like with it. Okay. We've tested on our side, but we haven't done integration on your side. So we just request to sign that. Just say, I received something. And then we have testing. So this is when the testing phase starts. So the testing phase, it's usually about 30 days, so 30 calendar days. And during that time, the same team is still dedicated to your project. So we still have, the team it's their number one priority to make sure that your project gets fixed. We can have every other day releases, daily, whatever you want, however we need to work with you in order to make sure your application is fully tested in 30 days. That's the best for us. That way we can you can put it to bed, we can put it to bed, and we can all go on, and we like those happy endings. After the 30 days is a certificate of completion. So that's when we sign, that's when we say, okay, it's good, thank you very much. And then there's still a 30-day warranty period where you can reach out to us. And you can always reach out to us if it is a problem that creeps up later. We're always here. We're 4D. Let me just say this, every single developer on the professional service team is a 4D permanent employee, which is great. And that means that allows us for continuity of support. So if whatever, in 6 months we want to do another project, we're allowed to, that same person is generally still around. So that's just a general professional service process. I think it's pretty clear. Took a lot of hiccups to get that, but I think we're in much better shape now. So now I'd like to just highlight a couple different topics that services that we offer. And first one I'd like to highlight is deep code analysis. So you may ask yourself, what is it? All right. So the definition is an independent and objective analysis of your application by a 4D expert. Okay. What does that mean? So what we do is we review your application, we review the necessary information, and we provide you a report based on whatever you need to do with your application. We'll talk about that in a second. So it's a very long report that tells you a lot of things about your application. And it's also very beneficial. So the topics are defined, and I'll talk about how they're defined later, but they're generally a database configuration. Is your application set up to configured appropriately for your deployment? We got coding patterns. Are you following modern best practices? Are things happening? Have there been changes in the 4D programming programming language that this application hasn't gone up to? If it's a legacy application, happens a lot. We talk about coding patterns and ways that you can have more performant code with more modern changes in 4D by adopting them. Detection of memory leaks. So we help you with the detection of memory leaks. If you have an unstable application, we can help you as to why and possible ways in which we could help you root those out. And at the end, the main goal is to have a concrete action plan to achieve the goals of your application, whatever those may be. So we'll talk about those in a second. So when do you do it? So if you're having issues with performance, so if your client or you are noticing that your application is too slow, whatever that means, we'll do a DCA and we can work on you to figure out how and why it's too slow. If you're growing the number of users, so that famous insurance company that I've mentioned already twice, I'm going to mention them a third time. So we did a DCA at the beginning and hit some and saw initially some issues that we were gonna run into as we started adding more and more users. So it helped us to understand the application before we did the load testing and stuff. If you're changing your deployment strategy, so if you're changing your architecture, standalone client server, if you're going to a different sort of, let's say, a licensed model, however you're changing your deployment strategy, you may want to reach out to us to figure out if it makes sense. Having issues with stability, so if your application is crashing, that's no good. We'll help you with that. If you'd like 4D to help you working with architecture support, that is, if you would like support from an architect to know how to better architect your application in order to support future growth or whatever, we can help you with that. If you'd like to work closely with 4D, if you'd like to do many projects with us, we request that you do a DCA first. That way we can understand the, let's say, weaknesses and strengths of the application and work with you to address those. And also at the same time, we're doing the projects. So we make your application better. And if you'd like to sell your application and your buyer needs an objective opinion. So for me, there are two cases here. One is the case where the potential buyer, so these are two cases of real things that actually happened. The potential buyer, during his due diligence, so there's a potential buyer of an application. This person while doing their due diligence, they wanted to know about the application. They wanted this objective view. So they call us up and they say, hey, I'd like a deep code analysis of that application. And we'll definitely do it. And that's something that we will do. But just to let you know that this report doesn't necessarily pull punches. It really is a list of everything that's possibly wrong with the application that can be made better, right? If you're a developer, you know that there's always things that you do, but a potential buyer that may scare them off. So that was one case. So then we did a deep code analysis and we presented the application, and luckily the application was in good standing and it was a really well-maintained application and everything worked out well. But you can imagine that it would be difficult if there were catastrophic, if there were major problems with the application. So that was one case. Another case that's better is someone knows that they're going to be trying to sell their application in about, let's say, a few years. Great. They reach out to us and say, hey, I'd like to know what's up with my application. I'm thinking about selling it. They are able to, so then we do the DCA and we set up, let's say, like a performance improvement plan, or we discuss things that make the application good. And that way, when the potential buyer in the future does call us up and they ask us about deep code analysis, we can say, oh yeah, we've done that. We've been working with this developer for many years now on their application, and we feel that that the application is not only well maintained, it's cared for, and it does what it should do, and and it's a really good application. So it all depends on where you'd like to fall on those two cases. So just some thoughts. So, and the DCA process. So the DCA process is a little bit different than the DCA, than the general process, as it's a report and not development work. So I'll just quickly go over it. We sign the NDA, it's the same way. We don't have to go through a GDPR process because we don't require your data. Don't give us your data. We have a we do the proposal, general terms and conditions, as always. You upload application source code, so components, plugins, client server logs, whatever. You upload that stuff to the FTP, and then we are able to, since we know 4D and the ins and outs of 4D, we're able to review your client server logs and look at a lot of data and create a baseline of how healthy your application is. And then if you want to do optimization phase, we can recommend the top 10 places to optimize. You go off, or we optimize them for you. And then we can review that baseline. We can re-grab those client server logs and check it out again and statistically show that the application has been better. And that process, that iterative process, has really helped a lot of larger applications, a lot of larger strategic applications that were suffering from optimization problems. So that was money well spent with them, they felt. We do a project kickoff and a demo, and this is what the demo is. Yeah, you meet the client, so the person that's doing the DCA, you'll meets the developer and the project manager that's handling the project, and then this is where we let the developer talk and give an overview of their application and what the application is, what it does, why they're doing certain things. And also we like to look at the settings of a live application, if at all possible. That way we can review those and talk about them in the report itself. So, and that also helps us to understand the pain points of the application and what we need to touch on specifically in the application. If it's an optimization, we'll work on optimization tasks. If it's stability, etc. So that's how we're able to tailor the report. It's a report for you. We deliver the report, so it takes a few weeks. It's about 150 pages. It's massive. It's a big, it's like a housing inspection for your application. If you've ever seen a housing inspection, it's like everything that could possibly be wrong with an application, we'll tell you. And then we'll list and we'll give prioritization on it based on your goals. And then certificate of delivery, the same thing. It's your report. And then we have follow-up meetings. These are meetings with me generally, or the project manager on the team. And then we review your questions, these are just regular meetings that we like to have following up to see how you're implementing the DCA. So that is the process. And then once you do a DCA, you may ask yourself, what do I do after that? So this is what we've seen. So we've had people do optimization stuff, optimization work. I spoke about that one where we did the baseline and we just iteratively optimize their application, and now they're in a really good way. You can fix the issues yourself. We've done, if you don't know how to fix, if you want to fix the issues yourself, but you don't know how to do it, we can do bespoke training on site or off site based on your needs. And that has really helped teams not only understand, the training has really helped teams fix the application themselves, and really gives them a lot of agency around and control over how they go develop in the future. You can change the architecture if that's what you want. You can grow your application as you can with the things that we implement. You can stabilize your application. So based on those, let's say the top X things to fix. If you're worried about stabilization, the stability of your application, we can work with you and we can help you stabilize your application. Third-party maintenance, again, if you want us to maintain your application while you work on feature development, we can do that. If you're selling your company, as I mentioned before, and in the worst case scenario, it's happened to us where where the application just was not fit for purpose. It was going from a very like just standalone post, and then they wanted to install it 100 spots, and we just said, no, you're going to have to redevelop the application. We're sorry, it just will not handle that. And that's the kind of, I would rather know that before, if you have to rewrite an application, than after spending time and money rewriting, trying to get an application to work that doesn't work. So those are the next steps and that I could think of and that I've seen in the past 2 years. So that's enough for DCA. Now I'm going to talk a little bit about conversion. And what is a conversion? A conversion is what is it? A conversion is an isofunctional migration of your application from one 4D to another. What does that mean? It means we take your application, whatever version it's in. So we have a lot of 6.5, 6.7s. So these really old applications, 2004s, 13s, and we migrate it to the latest version or wherever you'd like us to migrate it to. This isofunctional means that whatever was working will work still, and and whatever didn't work will not work again. It's like that old joke, the guy that breaks his arm, he goes to the doctor and he gets his cast off. He goes to the doctor and he says, oh, this is great, doctor, my arm's healed. Can I play the piano now? The doctor says, sure, yeah, why not? And he says, okay, cool, because I was never able to do it before, right? It's that old, really bad joke so that's what it is. So we're not going to have things that won't work will continue to not work. Things that do work, we promise you that they will work, and we'll work with you to get them to work. And here's some examples about conversions, just really quickly. So these are European clients. We took them from version 13 to version 17, 32-bit. They had a lot of 4D Write Pro and they wanted to do it themselves. So we just said, hey guys, you guys can do the 4D Write Pro stuff yourself. We provided them a training on how to do that, on how to migrate their application based on their use of 4D Write. And then they were able to do it. Now they're at 1764-bit. GHS, the exact opposite. They didn't want to do 4D Write Pro. So they got everything ready to 1732-bit. And then we took it home with the 4D Write Pro. And Eurolocks, that was just a version 13 to version 1732-bit. And then they're deciding whether or not what they would like to do for 4D Write Pro. This slide is just to show you that we are here to help you where you need it and work with you how you need it, and whatever you decide works for us. As you said, we're just here to extend your reach. So that's what that's for. So enough about conversion. I'm going to talk about a little bit about UX UI redesign. So what is it? It's a redesign of the look and feel of your application. So as you know, as you've seen, applications have changed since even a few years ago, right? And though vintage looks cool on certain things, it doesn't look cool necessarily in software. An interesting example that happened recently was a Canadian customer called the professional services team. They said, hey, I have this person that's really interested in my application, the business logic, they love it. It does exactly what they want to do, but they hate it, but they hate the look and feel. What can I do? I'm not a UI person. I said, okay, let's have a look. Let's see what we can do. And we were able to, in a month, get their application looking better and more modern. And then they were able to finalize the sale. So that's just one thing that we can do. That's one thing that we can look. And I have a pretty cool demo that I'd like to show you that an OEM allowed us to show. So, and this is not to talk bad about anybody's design skills or anything. I'm not the designer or a designer. But I just want to show you guys what we can do. And so I'm going to open up the application and I'm going to open up the client's application. So you probably know what this looks like. The pretty stuff. So the application it's called Label Tracks. It's an OEM. It's an application that works very well. It's a company that's doing very well and it's an older application. So this is the entrance screen. So as you can see, it's got some polished steel, and this is what the application looks like. And they called us up and they said, "Hey guys, can you help us out with the look and feel? We feel like it's a little bit whatever. Like we don't know how. Like we don't have the time or even the necessarily the knowledge to make it to do whatever we need to do, but we can. We'd like some help. Our application is running well. We don't want to change the core of the application. We just wanted to give a little bit of fresh air." So as you can see, if you look around, there are many different things. It's a complicated application. You have all sorts of different tabs and buttons, and they're heavy buttons, and it's a polished steel, which was very big at the time, at a certain time. So if we go to there's some issues that I haven't fixed, so it's fine, but that's me. So we do all records. So this is the all records, and if we go into this, we'll see again. So just a lot of different stuff, and look, and maybe just like a lot of feature creep over the years that has made it such that the application doesn't have a specific design pattern, or there have been many people working on the application over many years that each person has a different design flair and does their own thing, and there's no adherence to a design pattern or design specification. Said, "Hey, can you help us out with that?" We said, "Sure." Let's look at their application. So what we did is we understood their application, saw how they're doing things, saw what they liked to do, and we said, okay, let's have a look at, let's do a stab at it. And an interesting thing about this customer is that they had reached out to a design firm already, and the design firm they shared us with them the designs, and they really liked the designs. But the design firm weren't specialists, didn't have any specialists in 4D. So they were given web designs, and they didn't necessarily know what to do with or how to translate that well into 4D. So really what we did is we said, okay, I understand that point. Let's build a quick, simple database for you to test your 4D application. So, and these are just, so using modern 4D design. Just remove these things, get this going. I'm just going to show you the new home, as you can see. So we have a button, and so I'm just going to run this form. I'm just going to quickly show. As you can see, it has all of the same information. It's just presented in a little bit different way using 4D things. We have these tabs here. These are looking great. And as you can see, there's no floating things, no islands of buttons anywhere, just really centralized and really clean looking stuff. That's the home. If you want to go into a selector, again, this would be like a selector, and then we could have the same type of tab looking, top forms, middle forms, and then how the list box would be done. Some nice logos for the person to use, and then we could have maybe an input screen. So those are the three different main things that they had. So these were and that's, if you look at this, is a little bit different. It's a little bit brighter. You're actually showing you're showing it the same exact information, but in a lighter way. So they just asked us to breathe a little bit of light into their application. So no real heavy colors, just lighter and more modern look and feel. And so not only did we provide them a demo that they can use and play with and integrate into their code, we also provided a design specification for them. So this is actually done by Ad. So we provided a design specification for them to be able to take and run. That way, whenever they needed to redo another form, they could use this design specification, and explains how the 4D stuff works, setting up the toolbar, and really uses the modern 4D stuff for that. And also talks about, down here, it talks about maybe the color scheme. So what do the colors need to look like? Non-modifiable data has that background and that font color. So just a really nice deliverable that the client can then use and implement themselves. And that's what they've chosen to do. They've taken this and they're going to run with it. So really cool project that, yeah, Ad did. Good job, Ad. Kudos, bud. And that's that. So that's what we do for UX UI. And then depending on what you want to do next, the ball is in your court. If you'd like us to do it, we can take it on and rework the application with you. If you want to do it little by little, you can do that as you wish. So that's that. And so now you may ask yourself, how do I get started with professional services? So this year, actually last year, we started, I put a quiz on the web for people to be able to know what they needed to do in order to do to migrate their application to a 64-bit in version 18, or version 17 last year, but version 18 this year. So that is still there, and these slides will be given out to you. So I added the links here. It's a migration report. It's a free report that we do for you. We take receipt of your application. We tell you what you need to do to get your application to version 18. And if it needs to go, if it's in 32-bit currently, we'll tell you also what you need to do to get it to 64-bit as well. We'll do a mobile readiness quiz. So this is another quiz that we have that talks about your interest in mobile, if you have mobile or mobile/web readiness quiz, excuse me. If you want to talk about a mobile, bring your application to the mobile or to the web. A DCA quiz, so just some questions about the DCA, talks a little bit about the DCA, and we can just start the process like that. There is an email, professionalservices@4d.com. If you write us an email, we will, your appropriate account manager will get back to you. And there's one cool thing that I wanted to show you that just came online today, and that's chatting. So if I go to us.4d.com, you probably all know this website. There is this button now. So I can write a message. Will Thrill, 4d.com, 813. 813, what do I do? Write them a question. And they should get back to me. Tracy Roberts is gonna get back to me. Good old Tracy. I didn't say old. So see what happens. So it's a brand new thing that we just started today. So that's a funny thing. I think we used to have other communications to be able to. Oh, you're welcome, Tracy. Doesn't seem like it's working now. So it's just new today, and we're going to use this as a tool to talk with that you can reach out to our sales team. So that's just another thing. So that's new as of today. So I'm just going to pop this out. I'm just going to continue chatting with her later. I'm going to continue this webinar though. I can talk to her every day. So I'm going to go back. So that's another thing. So that's another way. Okay, so that is more or less this webinar. So this webinar was just a kind of what I was going to talk about with the summit. I hope that you all were able to understand, or hope that you understand now what's been going on with professional services. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us in any of these ways, just to talk about any projects. Next webinar. So as I said, I'm trying to make this a recurring thing that I'd like to do. The following webinars are going to be shorter. This was a summit session, so it's a little bit longer, but the next topic is going to be around the 28th of May, and it's going to be thinking beyond the spreadsheet with 40View Pro. So that's just some interesting uses of 40View Pro that we're coming up with as we're playing. So that's that. And I want to say thank you all for joining me. And I'm going to pop over to the Q&A and hopefully answer questions. How many participants in this session? I can't see. I don't think you're supposed to see. There are enough participating. How do you hit the application for 400 users? Was it web or client load? That is an interesting thing. So that's going to be a subject of another. That's going to be the answer of the another a session on CAS, but what we do is we have the ability to, we have tools that we have that we're developing in 4D that are able to expose forms, 4D forms to, that expose 4D forms to RPAs. I forget what the acronym stands for. But so what that does is you're able to simulate workflows using something like a UI path. And we are able to then simulate launch clients, simulate workflows with, let's say, RPAs, an RPA application, and we spin that up in the cloud. So on the Amazon, in Amazon. And so what we do is so we have a server here, and we spin up a bunch of clients, and those clients connect to that server. And that's what we do. So we automate the spinning up of, let's say, 400 or 500 or 1,000 clients. And then each of those clients goes through a specific script that they would do, that a client would do. So form manipulation. And then it just goes over and over and over like that. So that was client load, to answer your question. And we can do both web and client, and have done in the past. Hope that answers your question. Do you make native, web, or hybrid application? Both, any. So any, yes. We will, if you have more questions, we can reach out to you. But yeah, any iOS development, we know a lot about it on the team. So you can play with it with the 48 for iOS. That's how you can make a native application, and we can talk about web or hybrid applications later. And what are the geographical location of the 36 team members? So we have team members in the US, Morocco, and France is the main location of those team members. So we're spread out in a lot of different locations and different time zones, so we can work a bunch. That's done. Are there any other questions? Go to the chat. We do have expertise with AWS hosting and architecture, and that has been real hot. So thank you for your question. So the question is, do you have expertise with AWS hosting and architecture? The answer is yes, we do. That has actually been, since the confinement, that's been a very big question for a lot of people, since people are working from home and they would like to put their application on the cloud. So we can work with you. We have deep knowledge in AWS hosting and architecture, yes. So thank you. I'm gonna go to the, so someone asked, how old can I move from a version to version 18? I'll answer that live. You can go from any version of 4D to version 18. So whatever you've got, we have, so there's some tricks that we have, and we have people, since 4D has many versions. We have people that have been working with 4D for many years. We have people that remember the tips and tricks of how to work with those old versions. And we also have a stock of very old computers that do that are able to run old OS, Mac OS versions. So we are able to handle any conversion. And if you have a super old application, we can help you get it. If you need to run it through a TS, whatever, like all of those older things, we can help you do that. It's not a problem. So the question, so someone asked, so someone's running version 15.6 in interpreted mode, not compiled. If they move to V18, will there still be able to operate in interpreted mode? Yes, you will. Yes, you will. It's not a problem. So I'll answer that one live too. Oh, shoot. Oh, did I stop my? Oh, I know I'm still sharing. Sorry. We got a chat. Someone's chatting. Oh. Oh, someone asked, do conversions include 64-bit? Yes. When you're moving to migration, when you're moving to 64-bit, the application needs to be, so if you're moving to version 18, the application needs to be converted to 64-bit. So yes, the conversion is to 64-bit as well. And we work with you on getting the application 64-bit ready. Generally, we recommend, yeah, right now, since version 17 is out and has 32-bit and 64-bit conversions, we recommend going to the 32-bit right now, going to 17 32-bit, making a baby step to 17 64-bit, and then going to version 18. So leap forward like that. But yes, we do not want any 32-bit applications out the door. Hope that answers that question. Thank you. Keep them coming, guys. Got all day. So someone asks, in version 18, we have project mode. Can I have professional services for that help? So I'll answer that. Yes, we do provide, we do help and are helping customers move their application to the new project mode way of working and working with those, with their development teams and getting their applications in project mode. So project mode, it's a great new feature in version 18. It's a great reason to move to version 18. It will allow you to work with your application with any sort of repository, any sort of, change configuration management, software management system. Sorry, software control management system, whatever. It allows you to work with anything like Git or CVS or SVN. CSV? CBS, and we are able to help you with that. So yeah, that's not a problem. We can definitely help you. I bumbled that one. It's harder, and it's harder live, guys. So someone asks, we need help with modernizing our software engineering processes to work more efficiently as teamwork. Project management, Jira, code revisions. Yeah. Yes, we can work with you on that. We work with 4D, and we can discuss. So please reach out to we can help people on processes and ways to develop and use of Jira, use of Git, use of automated tests in 4D. We do that ourselves, and we feel that we develop good software, so we can share with our customers our best practices ourselves. So feel free to reach out, or we will be reaching out to you in the future on that. So thank you. Anything else? If not, then I will sign off. So I just want to say thank you all very much for joining me today. It was great. I hope you learned a lot about professional services and what 4D is offering for professional services and what's changed in the past 2 years. So hope to see you all really soon. Thank you all for attending, and I appreciate it. Take care. Bye.